Right now at 6, Portland's revised camping ban takes effect.
If you refuse to comply after you've been offered carrot after carrot after carrot, in comes the stick.
So why does the mayor's office now seem to be backpedaling on enforcement? Then a looting frenzy that may have started by a guy with a sign.
People started coming here and grabbing stuff.
Why an arrest has now led to another twist. Plus,
can't go if there's no bridge, dude.
Why police say this driver was on the run before the chase came to a dead end. And later, a Star Timbers midfielder now headed to a spot no team member has reached in years. Thanks for joining us on this Monday. I'm David Molko. We begin at 6 with day one of the city of Portland enforcing its new rules around homeless camping. And while in theory, it could mean those who refuse shelter get a fine and/or jail time, it now, at the last minute, sounds like officials may be taking what some might call a bit of a soft approach. Blair Best has our top story.
This is what a neighborhood on the defense looks like.
Wood chips, massive tree limbs in the street so they can't come here.
And sounds like.
104.1, the fish.
I've got it loud enough that hopefully they won't park here in the street.
Just the latest of Todd Littlefield's tactics to stop homeless camps from coming to his street.
We're constantly being terrorized.
Starting Monday, the city of Portland launched its own tactic by enforcing a ban on homeless camps. Last week, Mayor Ted Wheeler was confident in its potential impact during an exclusive interview with KGW.
Everybody knows what the rules are. So on July 1st, we begin enforcing that rule.
I think it's great. I think it's necessary. The direction, the message is absolutely what we need.
A city outreach worker will first target camps that are considered high impact.
What's that supposed to mean?
Good question. Basically, it's the ones that create the greatest community health and safety risks and affect the work of city employees.
That's messed up. Why can't someone like me and my fiance get targeted that want help?
If shelter is available, the city outreach workers will offer it to certain people. If they refuse, that's when police could show up, if called and if resources allow. And police will either put people in jail for a week, give them a $100 fine, or both for violating city code. The outreach team holding most of the power here was unavailable for an interview.
If you refuse to comply after you've been offered carrot after carrot after carrot, in comes the stick. And the stick is a fine or a jail term, or both.
The mayor's office had a different tone Monday afternoon, saying in an email jail time is not likely given limited resources. So instead of getting arrested, people could be cited and given a court date. Penalties that don't faze this couple in a tent along the I-205 bike path.
It's just not getting better, and it never will.
If I can't go there with my dog, I'm gonna say no, and I guess I'm gonna have to go to jail either way.
It wouldn't be the first time.
The city has access to about 860 shelter beds. It's unclear how many of them were available on Monday.
Unless the shelter and services are in place, where are they going to go?
And there's no easy way to do that. It's hard and it's costly, and that is navigating people to whatever services they individually need to get off the streets.
And Blair joins us now. So Blair, I'm curious to know, where are the police on all of this? Won't they be the ones doing the enforcement and in theory at the end of the day making these decisions?
In theory, but what we're learning is that city outreach workers hold much of the decision-making power here. It's up to them if and when police are called to a site. And if police show up to a site, given limited resources, jail time is not likely. Now, we asked to see if police were called to any sites today, but we did not hear back yet. More on all of this coming up tonight at 6:30 on The Story. David?
Yeah, sounds like a lot of questions and a lot to talk about. Thank you, Blair. In your headlines this evening, we have learned that 2 people who were killed in the crash last week in Southeast Portland were teenagers who were former students at Ida B. Wells High School. This is video from the crash last Tuesday. The school sent out a letter identifying the victims as Dylan Brasky and Jaden Roland Eckes. They were both sophomores who had recently transferred to Portland Community College. A third person in the car who was seriously hurt, Cole C.J. Johnson, is a recent Ida B. Wells graduate. Portland police say the car was reported stolen, and the crash happened after the driver allegedly sped away from Gresham officers. In North Portland, police say a shooting at a TriMet Max platform last week was a homicide, and they have now named a suspect. 39-year-old Sean Smeeden died of a gunshot wound Thursday night at North Interstate in Prescott. Detectives have now identified the suspect as 29-year-old Moyasar Osman Mohammed Ahmed. They say that suspect has likely left the area, possibly the country. If you think you have seen him, call Portland Police.
What a Monday.
A wild scene this afternoon in Tigard when a police chase came to a spinning halt on what used to be the Hall Boulevard overpass over 217 that is currently being rebuilt. We're going to explain here. Westland police say the suspect was fleeing after he robbed a key bank with a large knife. They say he leapt over the counter, took the money from each of the teller stations. Authorities tracked him using a tracker that was embedded in some of the cash. You've got some video from the Broadway furniture on Hall and 99W here. It appears to show the suspect vehicle a few moments before the chase finally ended.
This car comes into the parking lot screeching into here and followed by a police officer. And as they're coming onto Hall Boulevard, they backed into the police car to give him some distance.
Well, Westland police say they arrested the suspect with help from their Tigard counterparts. The 55-year-old man now faces charges that include robbery, reckless driving, and eluding a police officer. And some good news on a wildfire that's been threatening a Central Oregon town for almost a week now. Officials say fire crews have stopped forward progress of the Darlene 3 fire that is near Lapine. The fire is now 75% contained, with crews entering what they call the mop-up phase. The blaze forced hundreds of people to leave their homes late last week and burned nearly 4,000 acres on the east edge of town. About 40 homes remain under level 3 evacuation orders. Matt?
All right, David, thanks very much. We're starting some new graphics this week with that we're calling weather impact and weather impact alert days when it is called for. It looks like I got to skip back on over to this now. Let me go back to the right graphic here. I kind of got out of order. That's okay. We'll get to it, or maybe not. Anyway, it's going to get hot this week. Here it is. Now, look at that. We're catching up. Okay, let's see if we can make this happen. Here we go. What we're going to do is whenever we have weather that is more impactful than normal or is going to at least be inconvenient and potentially dangerous, we will highlight those days with red bars instead of the normal blue bars just to draw your attention to it. We don't want to alarm people, but we want to alert you that, hey, this is something a little bit more serious or at least more consequential than normal. And that's the case this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, when temperatures will be at record levels up around and over 100 degrees for basically 3 days in a row. So this is a long duration heat wave that is on the way. So what's the impact? First of all, when? It's going to be Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That'll be the heart of the heat wave. It is excessive heat. That's the impact. And the need is to be aware that dehydration is going to be a big concern, and also heat stroke is a possibility with this kind of weather. So again, this is something not to take lightly. This will be our hottest weather of the year so far. Excessive heat watches up for pretty much all of Western Oregon inland from the coast. More on this in a bit. David, back to you.
A weather impact alert. Thanks so much, Matt. Now at 6, we have an update on what appears to be a bizarre turn of events outside a Northwest Portland furniture warehouse. A sign painted on plywood that simply stated free apparently led to this, a bit of a chaotic free-for-all inside. It turns out the furniture was not free. It was not up for grabs. And then police made an arrest. Let's go to Devin Haskins live in Northwest 25th and Vaughn. Devin, apparently that is not, though, where this saga ends. What are you learning?
Yeah, so for now, prosecutors have decided to put those charges against the man that the police had initially arrested in all of this on hold. That decision came just moments before that suspect was supposed to appear in court this afternoon. And out here, things looking pretty calm compared to Sunday. Take a look at this video. I'll show you exactly what I mean. Video that we were sent into our newsroom shows people inside the building, rummaging through the boxes, walking around inside. Police tell us someone had broken into the building and let everyone in. This bizarre crime started with a sign painted on plywood with the word free written in giant letters. The police tell us the owner of the building never gave anyone permission to go inside and give away their items. KGW spoke with those who live in the neighborhood that watched the crowd of people walk out with dozens of boxes.
The boxes were huge. They were like bigger than me. I have no idea that when I walked by, I saw like king-size bed frames. That's mainly what I saw. But when you get a whole bed frame, it's like a giant box.
This neighborhood is pretty quiet, chill, relaxed. So no, I've never seen this much cops around here in my life.
Police tell us the man that was arrested yesterday was initially charged with 5 felonies, including 4 counts of first-degree theft. But as we mentioned, those charges have been dropped for now. I did reach out to the Multnomah County District Attorney's Office to figure out why. So far, haven't heard back yet. Back to you.
Devin Haskins in Northwest Portland this evening. Thank you, Devin. Starting today, the Oregon Health Authority is expanding Medicaid coverage to thousands more Oregonians. Daisy Caballero's in the newsroom. So, Daisy, what is the change and who qualifies here?
Well, David, for starters, this new health plan is called OHP Bridge that will cover adults up to age 65 who don't have access to affordable health care insurance. Other requirements include having eligible citizenship or immigration status and have income above traditional OHP plus poverty limits, which in this case will be between 138 to 200% of the federal poverty level. Here's a graphic to kind of help explain that while looking at different household sizes. The state says it created the new plan after finding that adults with income just above the OHP limits were more likely to be uninsured than other groups before the pandemic and would typically delay health care due to cost.
We know that cost sharing in any form, whether that's premiums or co-pays, is a barrier to care for people in this income range. And were we to have either or both of those, we would actually see decreased access to care, which is counterproductive for the goals of the state.
OHP Bridge hopes to eventually cover about 100,000 people by 2027. Oregon will now be the 3rd state in the U.S. alongside New York and Minnesota to expand Medicaid to people beyond the traditional federal income limits. But it's the first state to offer that coverage at no cost. Now, I am told that people who are eligible or found eligible for OHP Bridge before July 15th will have benefits as early as August 1st. You can find more details on KGW.com. David, back to you.
Daisy Caballero breaking it down. Thank you, Daisy. Straight ahead at 6, a big day in Vancouver for a new tiny home community. And the power of wind, the new facility that's training the next generation of clean energy workers. Stay with us.